Open studio. It's still going. Okay, hey, what time is it now? 7:15. Okay. Let me know when it's 8:15, inshallah. Please. Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh. ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه تسليما كثيرا إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى رب العرش العظيم أن يشفينا جميعا آمين. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى, the Lord, the great Lord, the Lord of the magnificent throne, to heal us all. ونسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يزكي أنفسنا وأنت خير ما زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها. And ask Allah to purify our souls. He's the best one to purify our souls. He is the guardian and the protector of our souls. ونسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن ينفعنا بما علمتنا, to bless us, to benefit us by what is the part of the knowledge to us. وعلمنا بما ينفعنا, and to teach us that which we can conceptualize and practically use. ونسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى زدنا إيمان كامل. Ask Allah to complete our iman. ويغفر لنا ذنوبنا, forgive us for our sins. ويكفر عن سيئاتنا, and wipe away, expunge those bad deeds. وستر عوراتنا, and to cover our shortcomings. ولا تكلنا إلى أنفسنا طرفة أعيننا, and we ask Allah to not leave us to ourselves for the blink of an eye. Ameen. Today, I should say tonight, but today we mentioned some points as we continue with the benefits from ad-da'wa wad-dawa. The Imam Shaykh al-Islam Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah rahimahullah ta'ala, Allahu khayran jazaa. Naam, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give him a great reward. I mentioned two things. I mentioned 5 effects, evil effects of sin, and then I mentioned mujahida, how to be a person who's fighting against and striving against sin. So the first part is talking about what happens when you do sins. What's the consequence? What's the bad, ill effects of that? And give 5 points. And then how to be a mujahida, because you have to be a fighter in this game. You have to be a person who's constantly on the battlefield, because you're constantly being bombarded. You have to be a person who's in the battlefield because you're constantly on a journey, believe it or not. The soul's clock that ticks doesn't stop. When you sleep, when you eat, when you go to the bathroom, when you do acts of obedience, when you do acts of disobedience, when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're young, when you're old, the soul has a clock. Everyone, every soul is going to come to a time they're going to taste death. Now, and Allah just mentioned, everyone has an ajal. Now, you have an appointed time. So the clock is ticking. You're always on the battlefield. You always have to be fighting. So this is the issue of mujahid. You have to be fighter. Can't lay down. So the first part, the effects of sin. I'm going to give 5 points like I did from the khutbah. And then the second point, how to fight and what to fight against. First point, if I memory serves me correctly, Allah Musta'an, and the Shaykh had mentioned Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah from the athara, the qub al-dhunub, from the effects, the sins have an effect, the punishment of sins, the ill effects and the punishment of sin. The first one said it weakens the heart, makes the heart weak with regards to ta'zeem Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. والحرمان ما حرم Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alaykum. So the heart, number one, becomes weak as it relates to valuing, referencing, let me get my words right. Valuing, reverencing. When you reverence something, you hold it in high esteem. Value something, that means you respect it. Holding it in high esteem. So the heart becomes weak as it relates to the servant doing that towards Allah. And we have this first ayah in the Surah, we say, Ya ayyuhan nas, ittaqu rabbakum alladhi khalaqakum min nafsin wahidah. They translate ittaqu rabbakum as reverence. Because when you do what Allah tells you, that's revering Him. That's out of validating who He is. He says He's great, you treat Him like He's great. He's severe in punishing you, you treat it like that. You stay away from the sin. So here, and the taqwa is connected to ta'zeem Allah. وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ مِنْ تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. Nah, Allah said that whoever magnifies, validates, reveres the portents, the things that show that Allah exists, then that's because of the taqwa in his heart. So the first thing, the ill effects of sin. One of the punishments, because you have the ill effect, which, it's a punishment. The bad effect of sin, Allah is punishing you now. Before you get, azab al-akbar, the major punishment in the hereafter. لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْجَعُونَ. So maybe you'll make tawbah before you die. That's the whole point of this. So the first point, the heart becomes weak as it relates to revering, validating, having respect, having taqwa, towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and staying away from what He forbade you. The second thing, the Shaykh says, from the ill effects of sin and their punishments, is that the person, his heart becomes weak as it relates to sayrullahi, sayrullah. And the reason the Shaykh didn't say ibadatullah, ubudiyatullah, he says sayr. Siru fil ard, travel. You see the seerah of the Prophet. We call it biography, but it's really his whole life. So say seerah, seerullahi, that means constantly being engaged with Allah. It's a bigger, deeper meaning than to say worship by itself. So the Shaykh said that makes your heart weak with regards to that. You can't serve Allah. You can't devote yourself to Allah. You can't give yourself to Allah. This is the ill effects of sin. And we mentioned many times, in our society, it's common here in the West, particularly in America. I can't speak to the experiences in Canada and in Great Britain and Australia, but here in America, it's practical to find a person saying, I'm a Muslim. And then you ask them, do you pray? No, I don't pray. Do you fast? No, I don't pray. What you do? I don't do nothing. Make dua for me. I'm a Muslim, but I'm not deen. How can you be a Muslim? What is it? What is this? I'm a Muslim, but I'm not deen. Does that even make sense? Allah Muslim. That person has been barred. His heart has been prevented from the ill effects of sin. That person can't give his heart. He can't serve. He can't obey, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Third thing we mentioned was that it makes the person, his heart, it makes the da'af and qalb, makes the heart weak as it relates to, as it relates to, what did I say? 4, 5. It makes the heart weak as it relates to um, spiritual blindness. Spiritual blindness. And this, wallahi, let me go back to the second one. I mentioned as it relates to one of the ill effects of sin, it makes the heart weak where it can't serve, worship Allah. I said that Sheikh Abdul Razak gave a beautiful example of this. He said you have two things. You have a person who's strong in his body. Strong body. Maybe works out, eats good, his age is not that, old, young, mid-age. Then you have a person who's older. He said, and that person older, he has ailments, has this problem, that ache, this pain, this sickness. Maybe he has sugar diabetes. Maybe he has high blood pressure. But he said the one who's strong in his body, and he's given an example of a Muslim. He hears the adhan. He knows it's time to pray. Obviously speaking, he's in an environment where you hear the adhan, but he can't physically. He can't, but something's stopping him from going to pray. He becomes tired, and we're not talking about he has the evil eye, or he's exhausted. He worked hard, or he was up all night. We're saying scratch all of those reasons. That person should be able to get up and go, but he can't. While his body is strong, it's his heart is da'if. He doesn't have the ability because his heart won't push him to that. He said, while the old man who depends on the cane, tell me do Allah assault. He's walking with a cane, and if he he has this pain, that pain. But that man, you'll find him with his cane struggling to get to the masjid because he heard the adhan. He said that first one is because his heart is weak when it relates to, the issue of serving Allah. Well, the old man, his body is not that strong, but his heart is strong because look, he's gone. So now I go to the third. He makes the heart blind. And we mentioned before that there's Allah Azza wa Jalla in the Quran. He mentioned ذلك لا تعمل أبصار لا تعمل أبصار ولكن تعمل القلوب الذي في الصدور. Here, so Allah said تعمل. He didn't say لا يعني تنظر بالأبصار. Didn't use the word that normally we talk about looking and seeing. He said ta'mel. Because ta'mel in the Arabic language, it doesn't just mean you view something with the eye. It also means you're dissecting that thing. You're breaking that thing down. You're analyzing, which gives you a different perspective, a deeper look than on the surface, somebody who just sees it. So Allah Azza wa Jalla said that's not something that you do with the eyes. That's connected to the vision of the heart. So here, the third thing, it weakens the ability for a person to see spiritually, the sins. It weakens it. That's what Tabarak wa Ta'ala often he refers to people who are astray as umyun, Yani they're blind. Yani, or yani bukmun. Yani, these people, they don't hear. You know, Allah refers when it relates to being astray to people with these type of descriptions. One of them is blind. While they might have eyes, Allah said, يعني وَلَهُمْ يعني أُذُنْ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا. يعني they have ears, but they don't يعني, hear with them. You have ears, but they don't work. People have يعني عيون ولا يبصرون بها. They have eyes, but they still look and they don't see what you see. Oh Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, spiritually blind. Also, we said number 4 makes you foolish, stupid. It makes you forget. يعني نسيان يؤدي إلى يعني نسيان كثير. Forget. And we're not saying some people naturally they don't have a good memory or they forget. But we're talking about this is chronic forgetfulness. Like you could tell like something is wrong. That person always, subhanAllah. Stuff that's like a person, wallah musta'an, you know, how can you, but it happens, but it's because the sins are not. How could you forget your child in the car? We know that happened to a family. An imam, how about that? After Jumu'ah. Of course, it wasn't timely to say sand and this. The person's lost a child, man. It's from a community that's part of our community. But the reality is that imam had a lot of dhunub, a lot of sin. To be that negligent, and the wife to leave the little baby, 1 year old maybe, probably younger than that. I believe the baby was young. I don't even think it was a year old. In the car in 100-degree weather, and you talk about. I thought my niece who was 11 got it, and the other kids who are the siblings of that baby, my children, 5 and 6. I thought they got it. You're the parent. How you get out, lock the door, go in the crib, think somebody else got your baby, lay down, take a nap, you're fasting, wake up, go shopping to buy stuff for iftar and suhoor, breaking the fast and eating in the morning before fast. You think the baby's in the room with the other children, they think the baby's in the room with you. Nobody knows where the baby is. You get in that same car, drive to the market, shop, buy all of these things for eating again, drinking, get in the car. Still don't see it, put it in the trunk. Get in the car, you drive, Allahu Musta'an. Get back to the house, get out, get the groceries, and the only way it's discovered, the wife sees the shoe from the window on the floor of the car. She opens the door thinking, oh, he left his shoe, the baby's there. Are you serious? It's a real life story. Because of the sins out here. Because of the sins. Allah musta'an. May Allah make it easy. Now that Imam lost that wife anyway. After some time she left him. This so كل هذا السبب أثر وتأثير ماذا الذنوب عقوبة الذنوب. It's from the ill effects and it's the punishment of sins. Allah musta'an. It just came to my mind when we were talking about the issue of being super, being it makes you stupid, makes you do things. We said on the khutbah that you'll make moves that say, wow, that was immature. They're an adult, but they making moves like children would make, senseless, foolish because of the sin. فَاعْلَمْ هَذِهِ مِنَ الذُّنُوبِ. Know that that's from the punishment because of the sins that we do. So that 4th thing, it makes you foolish and it makes you forgetful. You're foolish, forgetful, makes you stupid. Allah mentioned them, sufaha, وَيَقُولُ sufaha, foolish from amongst themselves. Then they made mockery about the Qibla and the Deen. And Tabarak wa Ta'ala mentioned, أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ, don't you have any sense? Allah mentioned, فَهُمْ وَهُمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ. They don't return back to the path of guidance. They went too far astray. All of this is because of hamaka, stupidity, foolery, Allah musta'an, and forgetfulness. Even the story of Musa and Khidr. What did Musa say when he realized he left the bird? He said, it's because of what? Shaitan. Shaitan. Okay. And the fifth one, Allah musta'an, the fifth one we mentioned, is that it takes you from being a'la ila asfali. Allah mentioned inna al-abarara fi illiyin. Naam. وما أدراك ما illiyun. Allah made the believers lofty and high and superior. Sins take you from that and demote you, because when Allah guides you to Islam, He has raised your status, raised your self-worth, made you in a way that no other thing can honor you. You demote yourself. Sins take that away, make you asfali safilin. Allahumma musta'an. So those are the 5 points we mentioned. The khutbah, Allahumma musta'an, with regards to the ill effects of sin. Number 1, we said again, it makes the heart weak as it relates to you revering, validating, and respecting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His limits. Number 2, it makes it hard for you to worship Allah. It prevents you from obeying Allah, devoting yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 3, it is something that blinds you spiritually. It makes your spiritual vision blurred. It makes you not see what a righteous person can see with their vision of the heart. Number 4, it makes you foolish. It makes you do foolish things, bad things, stupid things, and it makes you forget the sins that make you forget, chronic forgetfulness, chronic stupidity and foolery. And the 5th thing is that, mashallah, tabarakallah, it demotes you, takes you from a high, elevated place to a low place. As for the mujahida, the second part of the khutbah, Shaykh Abdulaziz Abdul Fawzan, Abdulaziz Abdullah Al Fawzan. He's the cousin of Shaykh Saleh Fawzan. He was asked, how does a person fight against these sins? So he gave 3 things, 3 advice. He said the first one, you have 3 things you got to fight against. And he mentioned the first one is shaitan. 3 things you talk about sin, they're the main causes of people's sin. You have to fight against. The first one, shaitan. He said the second one, a nafs, that the soul has been designed to incline towards those bad things. You gotta fight against that to keep your soul from loving, inclining, wanting the bad things that it would incline towards. It said, and the third thing is a dunya, fitna to dunya, trials of this worldly life. So if we go back, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said, Inna shaitan adu, fattakhidhu adu. Shaitan is an open enemy to you, so treat him as an enemy. But Allah emphasized, He didn't say, Ash-shaitan wa adu. He said, Inna shaitan. That inna is to have no doubt. Because sometimes we think that's not true. Shaitan is on the battlefield. He's playing chess. We're playing checkers. Anybody know the difference between the two? There's no comparison. He's playing chess. We're playing checkers. Allah musta'an. Tell me how, defeated we are in that game. Allah musta'an. And Allah Azza wa Jalla said, فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا. Treat him. He already told you he's your enemy. Now He told you the way you have to deal with him, treat him as an enemy. So we said you have to strategize. If you take any competition, boxing, martial arts, karate, kung fu, tai chi, bando, Jiu-jitsu. I'm going to say, man, the Shaikh know all of that. I'm not going to tell you I do it for them. Huh? You talk about basketball, American basketball, baseball, football, soccer, and in any sport, wrestling. Normally, what does the person who is going to face the opponent do? The opponent. He studies the opponent. You watch the games. They were playing against the other teams. When they won, how did they win? When they lost, they studied the person. The history of the war with these people in the country. This, you know, study their strong points, their weak points. Allah said, "Fatakhidu adu." We don't know nothing about Iblis except he's our buddy. That's all we know. We take him as a friend. Allah said, take him as an enemy. How do we take him as an enemy? You have to know him. You have to study him. You have to prepare. You have to outsmart him. You have to be on the other side of the field, not with him. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentioned that this is the one who was most envious for us. And he wants to take us all to the hellfire. He made a bet with Allah. And Allah said, Illa ibadi mukhlisin. That will happen except for one group of people. My servants that are sincere. So if you're sincere, he won't be able to trick you. But you can't just be sincere, like just be majority Allah, but by just saying the word. Sincerity means you do, you act, you live, you follow the script of those people that Allah said are sincere. What the sincere people do. One of them, they stay away from sin. They stay away from sin. They go the other way. They make sure they minimize at all costs any contact with sin. And if they fall into something being human, they rush to make repentance, to leave it, return back to good, and they don't go back to that sin. As that's one of the conditions of Tawbah and one of the meanings of Tawbah. You don't go back. That's the Tawbah that Allah mentioned in the Quran and His Prophet and the Sunnah. Number two, the soul. And we know the Prophet was told, Jibril was told that the soul likes bad things. So you have to fight against that. That's why the brother just asked what advice you give to young college students. You know, it's a fitna. What can you tell us to do? Advice besides the 5 daily prayer. I told him, remember death. Wallahi lazim. Remember death. That's what your prophet said. Aktharu dhikra that. Nah, he said, remember much the thing that will take away all your pleasures. To the most death. Prophet said that. So much so in context, Aisha, when she heard him talking about the day of judgment, people are going to be barefooted. They're going to have on Nike's, Tams. Man, listen, fly sneakers she got on. Man, look at those. None of that. Everybody going to be with their feet on the ground with nothing on it. No socks, no footies, no slippers, nothing. Butt naked. Where's my t-shirt? Wait, I got to get my boxers. You know, I can't go out like this. At least let me put on, you know, a pair of shorts. I got to get my bra. I got my thongs on. Wait, let me put a skirt, a slip on. None of that. Butt naked. I used to say, wait, hold up. Wait. She told the P, wait a minute. You mean to tell me we don't be on the day of judgment, women and men together with no clothes, naked? And Salah said, yeah, Aisha, mahlan, take it easy. He said, Al-amru a'zam min dhalik. The affair is greater than that. People going to be so scared, they're not even going to see somebody in front of them naked. In this life, she in front of you, on the side of you, behind you, it's a big deal. Tight clothes, you can see private prints, this and that, butt cheeks and all of this, a big deal. On that day, malish. If somebody was able to on that day try to offer you or seduce you or freak you, you probably beat them down. Man, we standing before Allah. Leave me alone. You know what I mean? Real talk. People be too afraid. So if that's the case, then that's one of the remedies for us remembering death. Like I told the brother, listen, if somebody was with you in the room, she was butt naked, she had the biggest butt in the dunya. If you remember death, guarantee you, you're not going to touch that lady. Remember death, that you're not going to get an erection. Death? That what if the angel come right now, I'm on top of this lady. Your whole desire to have intercourse is over. If you sincere and you can process that at that time, guarantee you listen, you get out of that room, the desire, she look good, none of that. That's what happened to Yusuf. Look, his shirt was torn from the front of the back. Back. What you think he was doing? Getting up out that piece. What? Getting up out of that joint. Straight up. Normally, the door is locked, he running towards her. Shoot, he was going the other way. That's real talk. Allahumma musta'an. The desires, you gotta cut them joints off. Lowering the gaze. People don't lower the gaze. How can you get away from the porn addiction when you watching porn? You have to leave it to get away from it. How can you get away from the addiction of looking at ladies, and lusting after them in real life? You have to lower your gaze. You can't lust after them. I'll tell you, one time I was in Egypt. Again, this is for everybody. Sometimes you think we on the minbar, we on the other side of the mic, we talking, this for y'all. It's for everybody. I'm with somebody. During that time, I believe he had memorized the Quran. He's a person of knowledge. He's the person that I know his whole life has been striving, learning deen. This person, subhanAllah, has been imam, translator. We're together walking, me and him and our two wives in Egypt. And he's talking. Because again, remember, we go way back. So he's in homeboy mode. So he's talking. And he's always talking about another woman. I got to get another wife. It's fitna, this, that. This, I'll do this. It's speech is unbefitting for a person supposed to be upright. So he says, man, I seen this young, pretty Egyptian girl in the village. He said, man, she had on a jilbab. He said, man, that thing was so big and she didn't even have on no drawers. I could. And I'm looking at him like, how hard do I smack this joker? That's what I'm thinking. Like, how do I smack her with my left or my right? I want. And I just said, I changed the subject. And he said, yeah, woman of faith. Look at the sickness. You undressing a lady, she don't even know. The young girl, 16, 17. Lowering the gaze. Mind over matter. And then the issue of dunya. We quoted the hadith of Qudsi. Hadith Sahih in its isnad and in its meaning. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we already know in the Quran, it says, مَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. And this is where we're in. I'm not created the jinn kind and the mankind except to worship. That's why Allah has created us to worship Him, serve Him. That's an honor to us. Allah, He don't need it. It's an honor to us. When He created jinn species and the human species for worship. And we said that Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned, إِنَّهُ يَرَاكُمْ وَقَبِيلُهُ. They see you, him, Shaitan, and his crew, from where you can't see, they're invisible. So imagine somebody spying on you. He's got the upper hand. Somebody's there, you don't see him. He's hiding in the room, in the closet. He's looking through the peephole. They got the upper hand. They can see what you're doing. They see your weaknesses. They see what you're wasting your time on. They see what you're frivolous in. So they manipulate those things. Now they suggest them to you in the form of thought and ideas. You didn't think about it. Nothing prompted. They gave it to you. Put it in your mind. Allah's given them the ability to put that in your mind. Put this in your heart. Make you think about it. So you're already at disadvantage when it comes to this issue. In all three categories. With the shaitan, fighting against them. With the issue of your nafs, fighting against that. And now dunya. Allah created you for worship. Along with the jinn. They were here before. They used to live on earth. Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said in the tafsir of the story of Adam and Surah Al-Baqarah, they used to live on earth. And they would fight the righteous jinn against the disobedient renegade jinn. And they were shedding blood of one another. That's why the angel said, are you going to create somebody and put them on earth who would shed blood? Because they already people, human jinn form were on earth. Because jinns are like humans. Their makeup is different, but the way that they are, Allah made us very similar. You're going to do that again, Allah? Like history repeating itself? Allah said, Inni a'lamu ma ta'lamun. Inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun. But from these people on earth, going to be prophets, messengers, people going to carry my message. No prophets and messengers from the jinn, but from these people, something great that you don't know about, stay in your lane. But the point is they understood jinns preceded us on earth. So Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned that clear. And in this hadith of Qudsi, he said that Allah Azza wa Jal said, Inni khalaqtukum li nafsi. Inni khalaqtukum li nafsi. Indeed, I have created you all for myself. Similar to the Prophet he's saying, As-sawma li wa ana ajzi bihi. So fasting is for me and I will give a special reward. It's not to say that the other acts of worship, you don't do them to be rewarded for Allah. But this fasting is for me, meaning it's a special action that you have to do to get rewarded for me. So Allah just said, I created you for me. I created you for the worship to me alone. That's the only reason I created you. To let you show which one of your best deeds in your life and your living to worship. وَخَلَقْتُ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ لَكُمْ. And everything else I created was for you. I created you to worship me, but everything else I created is for you. فَلَا تَشْتَغَلْ عَنْ مَا خَلَقْتُكَ عَنْ بِمَا خَلَقْتُ لَكَ لَهُ. He came up. He said, so don't be deceived where all your main focus is with those things that I created for you, while you become distracted with the purpose that I created you for. You're more concerned with the things that I created for you, to the point that you're going to do those things and disobey me, while you are not concerned with the reason that I created you in the first place. Be more concerned with the reason I created you over the things I created for you. Because those things that I created for you are only to help you, and the purpose for you being in existence anyway is to obey and worship and serve me absolutely. So when you're striving against these sins, you have those three major components of shaitan in the fight against it. Your desires, inclining to that, liking that which is sinful. And the fitna of the dunya, trials of the dunya, wealth, money, status, prestige, women, who can get the most women. Allah most time. You have to fight against those things. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his help. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A'inna ala dhikrika wa dhikrika wa husni ibadatika. We ask Allah to help us in our worship to Him, our remembrance to Him, and executing all that we can execute in that way. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, زكي أنفسنا وأنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها يا ربنا لك الحمد. We ask you to purify us. You are the only one and the best one to purify us. You are the protector and the guard of our soul. O our Lord, answer our invocation. Allah musta'an. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Please forgive me. I know I left off some probably major points. It's not like the football, but at least it's some more clarification, and Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best. Any questions, comments, or corrections? Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you stop it for me? Just finish. It's not working? Okay. Wait a minute. Let me see. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Just see, can you shut the phone down? Mine froze. No, just shut it down. Mark no catch.
Hit it again.